Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Dad. So tell me the story about how the Lord called you to serve in the ministry.
Well, I'd been working for 4 years at J.C. Penney's store in Canoga Park, California. And that's while I was going through high school. And I got a scholarship to USC. But I couldn't afford to go there because I couldn't afford to live there, and my folks didn't have enough money to send me in. So I figured, well, that probably isn't going to work. I'll have to do something else. My boss called me in and said, when I graduated from high school, he said, I'd like to make you the assistant manager of the store.
Dang.
And I said, for the first year you'll be a probationary type thing, they called it. But he says what you'll be doing is getting experience. And he said then at the end of the first year he'll send you back to the J.C. Penney University for full training, and you'll be certified at that time. Sounded good to me. I worked through the summer as assistant manager. I had the men's and boys departments, the scout department, and assistant manager responsibilities for the whole store. But we took off the week before Labor Day. Carolyn and I and some of the other young people from her church and our church, my church, were wanting to go to camp. And your mother and I had been going for almost a year by that time. And while we were at camp, we had a little scuffle, and Carolyn was a little tiffed at me for some reason or another. I think it was because there was some girl that decided she wanted to flirt with me, and your mother thought it was horrible. No? Whatever.
No, what happened?
Well, we were in the pool, and I had just done my hair, so it was gorgeous. And Dad, of course, that time he was just my boyfriend, but he got me all wet. And I got pretty mad at him for ruining my hairdo.
At camp?
Well, I had to
Doesn't
look,
just
I had to look good for you.
It's like these women that wear bathing suits, but they don't ever want to get them wet.
So,
At any rate, we, at our last night at camp, we had a campfire service. And then we did kind of a personal journey, walking up the hillside towards where the chapel is located. And that was something we were to do individually, and use the time to meditate on what we'd been going through in our devotions all week. And I got up to the chapel, and there were several people in there, and sitting, but there wasn't any discussion going on or anything. It was just quiet contemplation. And I sat down, and Carolyn wasn't there at the time. I guess she had either gone earlier or she didn't show up there. I don't know what. But as I was sitting there and looking out over the sunset through the window at the back of the altar, it was just gorgeous. But I heard the words, "Jack, I want you to be a minister." And it didn't startle me, it didn't frighten me, I wasn't surprised by it in any way. It was so natural and normal that it was like he was talking to me, and I knew exactly who it was. I didn't have any question about it at all. And I said, well, I don't think I could ever do that. In the first place, I don't want to be a minister. I want to be a psychiatrist, actually, if you want to know. He said, Jack, I want you to be a minister. I said, well, I can't be a minister because I can't go to college and have to do all that stuff. And besides that, being a minister, you don't get paid very well. And he said, Jack, I want you to be a minister. I said, well, Why would I want to do that? I want you to be a minister. And I said, well, I can't do it without, going through all this stuff. He says, you walk up to the door, I'll open it. I want you to be a minister. And I finally said, well, Lord, I can't do that alone. He says, okay. He says, could I have Carolyn as my helpmate? He said, done.
Bargaining.
Boy, I'll tell you. I went down from the chapel down to the center area of the camp, and Carolyn was down there, and she had tears in her eyes. I said, what's wrong? She said, oh, now just tell me what's going on. And so I said, well, God told me he wanted me to be a minister. She said, I know. I looked at her like crazy because I didn't know until I was up there, and I didn't talk to anyone, and no one saw me or anything else, I said, there's more. She says, what is it? I says, you're going to be my wife. She says, yes, I know. And that pretty well said it.
Wow.
And we went home that afternoon, or the Saturday afternoon. We got home and we talked to her folks when I dropped her off about what was going on, and they were scared but also encouraging. I went over and talked to my folks, and my dad said, yeah, right. But then he looked at me and said, you can do anything you want to do, but a minister? I said, well, I'm just telling you what's happening. And the next day I went in and asked the pastor if I could meet with him for a few minutes after the services were over, and told him what had happened. And he prayed with me, and he said, Jack, I've never had the Lord speak to me that clearly. And obviously it has touched you deep enough that it is not just something that you're thinking or something that you'd like to do. He said, no, I don't want to be a minister. It's too hard to work and everything else. But he said, if the Lord's called you to be a minister, he's going to open the doors, and you are going to go through them, just like he said. And he says, I'm with you, whatever ways I can help. And he says, you got to go to school? I said, yeah. He said, that means you're going to have to start this week because school starts Tuesday. So that's where we wound up going to the college the next morning early at Pierce Junior College, and we knew where it was, but we'd never really been up on the campus and in the buildings and so on. And I said, let's go look around, see where we need to go to register, because I'm sure they'll close today. There wasn't anybody up there anywhere. And so we were walking down this walkway at the administration building, and here at a kind of an angle is Office of the Registrar door. So I guess this is probably where I have to come to the registrar's office to register tomorrow, and hopefully I can get in and not be too late to get started. And as we walked up to the door opened, and there was this lady, and she looked out and says, can I help you with something? I said, is this where I have to go to sign up for college? She said, well, yeah, but we're not open today. I just had to come in to pick up some paperwork that I left here. How come you didn't come before? And I said, I just told her briefly that I felt the call to go to the ministry and realized I was going to have to go to college. I couldn't have used the USC scholarship, but I had to do something. She says, well, come on in. I'll sign you up right now.
That's cool.
And that's what she did.
Wow.
And from that point on,